Hey everybody, it's Tuesday and that means it's Tech Tuesday. We'll be starting in just a moment. Be right back. Hey, thanks for joining me. I'm Rick Uzzi from Zcorum and this is Tech Tuesday. We do this every week. Thanks for joining me. And like last week, today I'm doing this out of my home because a lot of us are dealing with interesting challenges these days with social distancing and trying to make sure we're not all together in one place. So here I am, and I suspect many of you may be doing the same thing. I don't know. So you might want to jump in on the chat and let us know if you're working from a different location than you normally would. A lot of people right from their living room or their home office or their bedroom or wherever. I did get dressed today. Actually, I get dressed every day. I find it easier to work at home if I get up and get dressed as if I'm going to work. So sometimes I wear sweats, but today I decided to put on something a little bit nicer for this. So thanks for joining me. So the topic today is best practices for ISPs, broadband operators in a pandemic, a situation like this. This is kind of unprecedented for us. I mean, we've had pandemics before. We had one back in 2009, but that one kind of passed without a lot of these restrictions and people working from home. So this one's a little bit different. I would love to make this interactive if we can. I was going to show just some news on what's going on and give you an idea of what I'm hearing a little bit out there. But if you can jump on, if we have when I ask a question, if you can let us know anything that you're doing. For example, are you working from home? That kind of thing. That would be great, so we can see what some other operators are doing. So on YouTube, there's a chat feature. If you've got the page open and don't have it full screen, you should see that on the right. If you're watching on your phone, I think it's down. I think it's on there somewhere down on the bottom. So feel free to jump in on chat. Just say hello again and let us know how you guys are doing. I'll have some questions for you. Be curious to see what everything's doing there. Working from home. Slow but steady, working from home. So yeah, it's different. It's like the days kind of merge into each other because you get to the weekend and then you're still home. So I don't know how other people are dealing with that, but it's very interesting. So again, I want to ask some questions, but first I was going to go through. Let me see if I've got my. Let me make sure I've got this set up right. Here we go. So we'll get this going. Let me see if I've got, I might have the wrong thing up here. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So I wanted to bring up some web pages here and just talk about a few things. So this is something that the FCC came out with pretty early on as their Keep Americans Connected pledge. That this would be ISPs would be taking a pledge to do some things for folks, and a lot of people are stepping up in all different ways, and ISPs are doing that as well. Some of the things that they're asking for was to not terminate service because of people's inability to pay right now, because a lot of people are being sent home because they, in the service industry, people just can't work. If you're in a restaurant or somewhere where, people are just not coming in, you can't work. Waive any late fees, open Wi-Fi hotspots, and you might chime in right now if you're doing that, and I suspect a lot of you are, because if you look at this list right here, this list got big really quick. So there's lots of providers right now that are participating in this. So again, this is the Keep America Connected, and operators doing it in different ways. Some are even going beyond this. So you can see here different operators that are, I'm scrolling faster than you can read, obviously, I understand that, but this is, if you want to take a look at it just to see who's on there, this is on fcc.gov, keep-americans-connected, and all of those companies all the way down that big list right there, you can see. So that's some good news that people are doing. Something else that you may be experiencing, and I'd be curious to know if you have seen any evidence of this, maybe in any analytics or usage that you collect, but we've been seeing internet data usage kind of surge from this because more people are home. And here in this story, average downstream usage per customer in urban areas rose 98.3%, and upstream 68.6%. So that was compared 2 week earlier. That was on March 16th, so this was kind of early in the process too. And you can see they had a little graph here showing just the increase. It follows the same pattern, but there's just been a general increase. Also, Verizon sees a surge in gaming, online gaming. So, now that your customers are home, they may be doing that. And interestingly enough, online gaming doesn't use a lot of bandwidth usually because it's just pretty much telemetry data that you're transferring back and forth between the games. So what's important there is low latency. So that should not be increasing bandwidth to the extent that more people being home would be streaming, let's say, Netflix than they might be during the day. But big increase in gaming, 75% they're talking about there. And obviously more customers are connecting more devices at home. This may have impacted your call center as people are like, hey, how do I get my phone connected up to do this, or my gaming system, those kinds of things, whatever it is that they don't normally use maybe, or that they're having to use now because they're home doing work from home, that kind of thing. And this was interesting, just seeing this. This is from Plume, who does they've got a Wi-Fi app that sits out there and reports Wi-Fi data. Actually, I have a bigger version of this here. So they've seen Wi-Fi devices increase up to 90%. And you can see that here. And it's interesting that on the West Coast, a little bit Seattle, I know they were experiencing, I think, shutdowns and sheltering in place a little sooner. They were kind of early in on that, and you see San Francisco Bay Area here also. So anyway, that's just a few things. I'll come back to a few more stories here in just a minute. But again, was curious if you have seen usage increase during this time, and if it's been any issues. For the most part, I think ISPs are set for this because we've got our peak hours, right? So generally people all come home at one time anyway. So they come home at 6, 7, 8 p.m. and then everybody gets on the internet. The kids are doing what they're doing, the parents are doing what they're doing, and maybe some of that hasn't changed. I think it's just going to be more distributed throughout the day. So you're going to need that peak bandwidth probably more hours during the day. So it'd be interesting to know what your experiences are. So I'm looking here. Yeah, a lot of people, I'm seeing who's doing what. So I see a lot of you are kind of split between home and the field. And I'm seeing that. In fact, I was chatting with a operator yesterday. He wasn't going to be able to join us live. I was telling him about it. And I was asking him what they did. And they said all their offices are closed starting today. They had 2 offices that were closed. Or maybe it was 2 that opened. I can't remember. They had 2 offices that were, I think it was open. And then all 3 were going to be closed starting today. Starting today, they were not entering homes. Prior to that, they were already not entering homes, kind of non-essential issues. I guess if somebody was down, they would go in the home and fix it. But now, starting today, they were planning on not entering homes at all. They had their workforce distributed in different places, either at home or in other locations. And then they're doing the same thing where they were the FCC pledge of holding on late fees and non-pay disconnects. So they were participating that way as well. So Nick, you see your overall traffic is only up 11%. That's good. 40% over Christmas. Yeah. Was that after Christmas, I wonder, or before? A lot of times after Christmas, everybody has new toys that they want to connect up to the internet. Maybe those new video cameras and those kinds of things that they're putting in. But yeah, so I think for the most part, bandwidth, people are handling the bandwidth. In fact, I'll play a video right now. I saw something the other day. It was the CEO of AT&T on CNN. They were asking him about bandwidth. So let's watch that real quick.
What about the wireless and the broadband customers that have AT&T all across the United States? Is the internet infrastructure able to keep up with increased demand?
Yeah, it's interesting. When the United States business sends everybody home, it changes traffic patterns. And what we're seeing is our mobile volumes are up 40%. Wi-Fi calling volumes are up 100%. The network is performing quite well, to be quite honest with you. It's doing very well, but it's an indication that as we have sent people home, they're now no longer working in their offices, they're working out of their homes, this infrastructure is allowing the communication to continue. That face-to-face communication that once existed is now happening over mobile devices. It's happening over Wi-Fi, and the infrastructure is holding up quite well. We're seeing some signs of stress. We're having to go out and do some augmentation of networks, and so we're sending our employees out to get that done. But right now, the network is performing quite well, and this is really an indication that the United States has led the world in investment in communication infrastructure, not just us, T-Mobile, Verizon, and this investment, billions upon billions of dollars of investment, we're seeing it pay off during a time of national crisis like this.
So again, a lot of operators, I think, are able to keep up with the demand. I have actually AT&T here, and I've had no issues. We had a thunderstorm roll through here earlier today. I was a little bit concerned about the power going out, but I've had no internet issues. So something else that I saw, a couple of things that were impacting folks here. Some of it's related to, actually, this is the one I wanted to bring up. So again, there might be some increased demands on call center. In fact, we do call center services for a lot of different ISPs ourselves. They use our call center to do internet support for their customers, some other things. And we've seen a surge of about 30% on the calls. And some of that is related to this and some other things. Again, all these new devices that customers are trying to connect up, they might be calling us or they might be calling your call center. And then also, as these workers are going home, a lot of them are needing VPNs. I got set up with a VPN when I got home. So as you're working from home, you might need things set up that can help you get that communication going with your office. In this case, this particular VPN, I think they provide. This is a VPN company, yeah. So they said 65.93% growth in the use of business VPNs just over this time. And this is interesting too. Working hours in the U.S. have increased by an average of 3 hours per day, from 8 to 11 hours. And I'm assuming they mean during this time. And I noticed myself that during this time, you're working from home, so you don't have to commute. So you've got that extra time, depending on where you are, how long your commute is. I don't know. It's just like you're sitting there during the day and you forget that you can leave. So we need to be cognizant of that and make sure that we're not staying too long in front of the desk as we do that. And then something else here is on the broadcasting side, people are kind of changing their viewing habits. And I don't know if you track those analytics, if you provide video like a pay TV kind of service, but this is interesting now. You think about the fact that there's no sports on TV and people are deciding what am I going to do for my sports? Well, some people are just watching other stuff. What was it? C-SPAN, actually SVU, it says right here, SVU is the most popular show to binge watch during this time. That's interesting. But also, as you might imagine, C-SPAN saw a big bump, and CNN, I'm sure the other news channels are seeing a big bump as people are kind of trying to keep on top of what's going on with the virus. So they're saying it could be an issue for linear TV, although not for kids stuff, because kids ratings are way up, because again, you've got a lot of kids at home. So kids who used to stream stuff maybe now are watching more linear TV with all these schools shut down. Cartoon Network up 58%, Disney up 43%, Boomerang and Nickelodeon also seeing a big increase there. So there's a lot of changes maybe on the video side that people are seeing. So again, I'm curious to know, out of those people that are watching, have you seen a spike in your call center, and you're able to handle that? Have you seen have you had any issues with that? Let me know. Also, how are you handling? I'm curious to know how you're handling maintenance calls. Obviously you can still go out in the field and fix things on the street somewhere in your cable plant. But how are you handling in-home calls with needing to maybe do the social distancing thing? Do you have your technicians wearing gloves? Are they, what kind of practices have you put into place for your technicians if they are still able to go call and go inside a customer's home? I'd be curious to know about that as well. wearing masks. I don't think anybody's doing that, but we're curious about that. Also, have you had to do anything with your bandwidth? The guy from AT&T, the CEO, was talking about maybe kind of moving some things around on bandwidth. Have you had to do that? Have you seen any kinds of increases in bandwidth? So let us know about that as well. Just feel free to go ahead and chat on there. I wanted to show you one other thing too that that you might want to be aware of. So it's really unfortunate that whenever there's any kind of news, and even a crisis like this, there are people out there that want to take advantage of others, and it's just you wonder how these people sleep at night. I guess they have no conscience, maybe. But you can see here that the U.S. Telecom came out with this warning that cyber criminals are now targeting people in various ways about the coronavirus. And this, again, you see this all the time whenever something like this happens. So this might be something that you want to maybe broadcast to your customers. If you have a way to send them an email, or maybe you can put up a warning on your website, something similar to this. You could link to this because this is a great resource right here. There are several different stories that they link to about these various kinds of scams. It's always a good idea. This list has grown, this list of stories about this. This was shorter the other day when I first shared this with some of our operator customers. So this is a great way to maybe keep your customers informed and to help them out. So make sure that they're aware of this because as these scammers are out there trying to get information from them, they might be trying to get their email password, which is bad, and then they might be trying to get credit card numbers. A lot of times it could be a virus, so they could link them to a virus that would be downloaded to their PC, and that can cause all kinds of issues. They might just want to grab as much personal information as they can so they can basically steal their identity. So there's a lot that you can do to warn your customers about that. Try to make them, I always try to tell subscribers, if you get something like that, always assume that it is a scam and then check it out. So go ahead and if you're going to check that out, if you're going to check the phone number out, for example, don't call the number in the email, but make sure that you go somewhere else, such as their website. Go search for their website, maybe look at a bill if it's that kind of vendor that you do business with where you have a bill. Call them from there and then tell them what you received and find out if it's valid. That's a good way to do it. It's because these things can look really, really authentic. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes it's easy to spot a fake on these things. The English is bad and the graphics are bad and you can just tell, but sometimes they look very real, and they just target people. If they might make it look like it's from Amazon, and they just assume that the customer has a business relationship with Amazon and that they're going to get some number of people that are going to look at that and then figure out that that's, or believe that that is really Amazon, and that's just not the case. So go ahead and warn your customers about that. So, Nick, you've seen more calls related to Wi-Fi saturation. Yeah, more people on Wi-Fi. A lot more people on Wi-Fi right now. In fact, I was seeing where mobile data is way down because people are at home now and they're connecting up to their Wi-Fi. So if you crank up the profile, it'll really solve the problem. No home entry. Text test and qualify to the NID on the outside of the building. Drop a pre-provisioned modem at the door. That's awesome. Okay, so you get that modem provision, put it at the door, and then you can do modem swaps on most calls. So I guess it's funny how we're doing business these days. So I guess maybe if they have a problem with their modem, they can put it outside the door, and then you can replace it, then they can bring it in, and they can swap it down. So it's funny how we're doing all these things. Self-install kits, yeah. Gloves, keep distance. These are all really good practices, and I wonder how many of these things will continue on after, some of it will. Some of this will continue on, I think, after all of this passes. I mean, maybe we'll find new ways to do things, and maybe there are things that are just more efficient, and it's stuff that we've never had to take the leap to do it, like working at home. Maybe more people will be working at home now because they've kind of gotten the system set up to be able to do that. So we might see businesses leveraging some of that, and some of the things that you're talking about here, self-install kits, those kinds of things. If people are not already doing that, this might be a way to increase efficiency. Peter Olivia. Oh, this is Peter Olivia of Zcorum. he says our engineering team is seeing a lot more requests for bandwidth increase assistance, CMTS rapid turnups, etc. So I could see that, yeah. And we do that as well. So some of the operators that we're providing engineering services for, kind of managing their CMTS and other equipment is, so we're responding as well. We're seeing a lot of these requests as well from our team, again, on the call center side, on the engineering side, to help out in these ways. So I think the biggest thing for all of us is that we're rising to the occasion, and I think everyone is trying to do that. And I'm so thankful for what all the broadband operators are doing out there in order to be able to address this for their subscribers. And I think the subscribers will appreciate it. I don't know, is there anybody out there, if you can reply, are you doing anything in addition to maybe waiving late fees or making sure that there's no non-payment cutoffs, that kind of thing? Are you providing any any channels for free for a period of time since people are stuck in their homes? Do you know if your company is adding, like maybe giving them access to channels they didn't normally have, those kinds of things? Pete says there's a lot of Wi-Fi management options in TrueVision. That's true, yeah. Anything that you guys are doing to help your subscribers, I'd love to know that, because again, I think there's a lot of goodwill built into that, where your subscribers will be very pleased and happy afterwards. So just let us know there. So you guys, this is from Corey, you guys, return equipment gets taken off the account and binned for at least a few days so that it'll be safer to handle. Let the virus on the surface die off. Yeah, so you guys are thinking of everything, because there is that chance that something might have something on it, and if you just let it sit for a while, that's the same kind of thing here. It's like you bring groceries or something in the house, and you want to, or the mail maybe, and you want to put it aside for a day or two just in case there's anything on there. So a whole bunch of networks are offering free previews right now. I did see that. Yeah, I saw a lot of the networks are offering the free previews already, and of course you can, that's good for you. You can pass that on. I'm seeing that from some streaming services as well. There are some streaming services that I think Amazon was making available something on their streaming. So a lot of people are stepping up. It's an interesting time. Does anybody have any questions before we end the broadcast? If you have any questions and somebody else can chime in, feel free to put those up here. Let's see if there's anything else we missed. So Pete says there's a few operators that are increasing bandwidth packages for free as a goodwill offering and addressing capacities needed. I actually did see that. Yeah, I saw an email from somebody that was doing that. They were increasing the speeds for their customers. And, again, that's something that you can do for your customers. They'll appreciate it right now. Cunningham, hey guys, that was Cunningham Communications. Hey, we're providing free internet service to all school students. Do not have access at this time since our schools are all transitioning. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, that's what I saw. Amazon is offering a lot of kids shows for free, Corey. I did see that. That was what I had seen. So, and that part about Cunningham Communications offering the free internet to school students, I'm seeing that as well. Comcast is doing that. They're offering their essentials as well. So as my kids are home, so as more and more kids are trying to do school from home, we're seeing more need for bandwidth. So it's nice to be able to maybe up the bandwidth for people temporarily to help your customers out. So where does it go from here? I don't know. We are in Georgia, and our governor yesterday issued an executive order, which we were thinking he might actually shut down the state like they've done in some of those other states. But actually what he did a shelter in place for people that are at high risk. So that would be people that are of a certain age, or if you have health conditions, he would like them to shelter in place. And he also put out an order that said no gatherings over 10 people in various places. So, bars will be shutting down and those kinds of things, restaurants, if they weren't already. A lot of them already had done that. So I know in other places, wherever you live, it may be different. I don't know if any of you guys are in places that are more shut down than here. But we're basically into the second week, about 8 or 9 days now into the 14 or 15 days that the president asked for us to make these kinds of changes. And I think it's going to have an impact as we make these changes as far as the spread of the virus. So I think from what I'm hearing, what you guys are doing, everybody's taking the right precautions to be able to protect themselves as well as the people that they're dealing with. So that's great. Pete, anything to get the massive increase in gaming traffic down? That's funny. So I guess I think you'd probably rather have more gaming traffic than Amazon traffic, but I don't know. I think the Amazon, that streaming is something that you guys are dealing with, obviously. I think more and more broadband operators are looking at their current video offering and deciding, do I need to move that to a streaming platform of some kind? All right, well, this has been some great feedback. I hope you guys, just through some of the comments here, have learned what a few other folks are doing and ways that you can be safe. Again, be safe for your staff, ways that you can handle the challenges maybe of working out of your home, and keeping your customers safe as well. And again, offering your customers some things today, maybe for free, that they don't ordinarily get, to help them out since they're in a difficult situation, as well as kind of offering them some grace on payment and those kinds of things. Is again, we've got a lot of people now that are not able to go to work, which is unfortunate. Maybe that will get straightened out here soon. So Corey, get the MSOs to offer your channel as a free option. Maybe get people hooked and increase subscription numbers. It's a win-win for them. Yeah, that's true. A lot of times, and obviously people are doing things because you're trying to help those that are out there, but also, as people use the service and they go, wow, I really like this, and then maybe we'll keep it afterward. So that's a good point. Well, thanks for joining me today. This has been great. I do this every Tuesday, not always from here, and on various different topics. So you can go to if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up down on the video there, and you can subscribe to our channel, and if you subscribe, click the little bell, and then you'll know whenever we are live or whenever we post a video. We don't do too many, but we do live videos every Tuesday at 3 o'clock Eastern Time. You can go to our YouTube channel. You can see some of the videos that we've done on various topics that may be of interest to you that are recorded. So this one will be recorded as soon as this is done, and then you'll see other videos that we've done in the past. So thanks again for joining me. I appreciate all of the feedback, and I will be back next Tuesday for Tech Tuesday, and I will see you then. Thanks. Bye-bye.